Oh, thanks for staying with us. My guest is the Ghana Bar Association President, Mr. Anthony Kwamina Forson Jr. A very good morning to you.
Morning.
Good to have you in the studio. But I wanted to talk about the impact of COVID-19 and the legal profession. Is it having any impact?
Oh, absolutely. It is, both in the practice of the law, the dispensation of justice, access to the courts. It's been massive. But interestingly, both the bench and the bar are on an innovation trajectory. So we are working, even though we are working from different angles, we are just moving in the same direction. If I will start from the bench, at least the Chief Justice has introduced something which is on a pilot basis called the virtual courts, which is going to handle small applications. So lawyers can sit in their offices. The judge will also be in his chambers, and the process can continue. So definitely this is one of the innovations which the Honorable Chief Justice has brought. It's on a pilot basis, which is led by Justice Gbadegbe of the Supreme Court and Justice Ellen Amwa, a very hard-working judge of the High Court. So that is one thing. If you look at the IGF of the Judicial Service, it came down at a point to about 1/3, which means a lot of people are not filing cases. And definitely, if people are not filing cases, it will affect the finances of lawyers. So the impact of COVID here was strong. However, on the flip side, you have some others who also got good business in the sense that there were contracts for renting of hotels, etc., and all these things are legal issues. People wanted legal opinions on the effect of the executive instruments. So that was also work which had been created by COVID. So I guess it evened out a bit, but definitely it affected us adversely.
Okay.
But we are working towards restoring parity in our economic fortunes.
Are we back to normal in terms of justice delivery?
Pretty much. There's strict observance of the COVID protocol. So once you are going into the courts, you'll have to go through all those, and there's spacing in the courts. But I think the judges are back to work almost at full steam. Yes.
I want to bounce the issue of vigilantism and the security issues, the concerns with Ododo. I mean, the fact is you're into the legal profession. You also need a peaceful environment to work in, just like all of us. So Dododio must concern the Ghana Bar Association.
It must concern everybody. Any act of violence is unacceptable. You see, as I was coming here, it's strange that a certain verse in the Bible, Philippians 4 verse 8, where Paul says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are beautiful, whatsoever things are of good report, think of these things. So whatever you are doing, you think of your neighbor, whether it will be good to him, whether it will be fair to him. And violence is totally unacceptable. There's nothing that we cannot discuss, even if we disagree. Well, we didn't make this world. There must be space enough, even in this place, for all of us to express our deviant opinions. So it's totally unacceptable. Anything which connotes violence must be condemned in no uncertain terms, and it must not be encouraged. I think that there was, I had a statement last week that the IGP was saying that the security forces will come down hard on anybody, and it should be so, irrespective of political coloration.
But this is not the first time that we're seeing something like that.
It is not the first time. It does not mean that it should continue.
I remember the Ghana Bar Association issuing a statement with what happened in Kumasi with the group that stormed the courts.
That is right.
Did we see it fully investigated, proper conclusion, and people brought to justice so that we can be assured that this won't happen again?
As the president said, projecting into the future is always difficult. However, I believe that if there's enough punishment and deterrence, it wouldn't encourage anybody who is minded to do the same thing again. Well, I believe they went through the process, and the records are there to show what happened. I believe firmly that that is one of the areas that we fall short as a country, in the areas of discipline. Because yesterday I was with Bernard Avle, and he was saying that we have so many laws. And I said, you know the answer. The answer is that when somebody infringes the law, instead of the law taking its full course, then you see pastors, elders, friends, brothers, you know, and that is what distorts it. Because if one person does something and is not punished, of course, it encourages the other person. But if one person does something, and the bigger he is, if he is punished, the next person will say, oh, if this person has been punished, then I must be careful because I'm a smaller fish. So that is where we are as a country. I think that going forward, we must be more serious. Because sometimes even the courts do their part. And when the courts have done their part, then all kinds of influences come in. So
I have to ask you, I mean, since you're a learned person, how else can we deal with the issue of odododio?
More education. More education. So the National Commission for Civic Education, the political parties, the leaders themselves, because a lot of people look up to the leaders. So if the leaders take it upon themselves to preach understanding, to preach tolerance, to preach the fact that, look, we may be different political parties, but we all aim at the good of the nation. But we are just going different routes. It's just like making light soup. Some may start with steaming the meat, some may... but you end up with a light soup. How it tastes is what the voter will, you know, assess that this light soup is better than that light soup. That's all. So it's a matter of education and focused education. Last week, the police was saying that they've seen so many flashpoints. Yes, once you see
the
flashpoints, then there must be a concerted effort with all the stakeholders to ensure that there will be peaceful elections. Because who will you blame? You cannot blame the government, you cannot blame the opposition, but somebody is blamable. And that person who is blamable is the lack of education, in my view.
Do we have enough lawyers in the country today? Take Greater Accra out.
No. No. We still need some more.
So you must be happy with the recent...
But we just don't need lawyers. We need quality lawyers. We just don't need lawyers. Because you see, whenever somebody entrusts a case to you, he puts his life and soul into your hands. And pays money or does not pay money, that does not matter. Therefore, whatever you give him must not be short of perfection. That is my view. So we need lawyers, yes, but we need quality lawyers. Because, trust me, people die every day from shoddy lawyering. But because, you see, there's no causal connection between a death and a bad lawyer's performance, people don't really know. With a doctor, there seems to be about 1-to-2 or 1-to-1 correlation that, oh, a bad doctor killed him. But a bad lawyer may lose a case and the person will just be sitting in their house and, The next time you hear he's dead, then you hear people say, oh, Wanyari. But when you trace the cause, it may be some family property that is lost, some business that is lost. And sometimes, well, that will lead us to professional indemnity insurance, which is on the way. I've seen that the National Insurance Commission is working on that. We need quality lawyers.
So if I feel my lawyer is not handling my case well,
yes,
can the GBA do anything for me?
What will I do? It's a contract
the
between
Ghana
you
Bar
and
Association. That lawyer belongs to the association.
Yes. If you can show that his performance is not good, that is controlled by the General Legal Counsel. So, of course, you can report his
You've got a complaint unit, right?
We have a complaint unit as well. Yes, you can tell us. We can call the lawyer and go into the matter, but we don't have the disciplinary powers which are resident in the General Legal Counsel. So what you do, and in fact, that is one of the reasons why the lawyer locator is a good thing, because once you get a lawyer, even though we don't guarantee that he's going to give you good service, at least you can make informed inquiries as to who that lawyer is. At least the lawyer locator will tell you when he was called to the bar, his area of practice, which he puts out. And you are free to ask people that, Mr. Anthony Forson, does he do well? Some may say yes, some may say no. And you make the choice. Yes.
Now that you mentioned the lawyer locator.
Yes.
If I am in, say, Sunyani.
Yes.
Can your lawyer locator help me find a lawyer?
Sunyani is too close. Korea. Because it's an online tool which will help you go into the database of the Ghana Bar Association from any part of the world and choose a lawyer that you are looking for. If, for example, you know Kojo Nkrumah, you know Nkrumah is a lawyer, but you don't remember his first name, you put in Nkrumah, all Nkrumahs will come out.
Okay, so I wanted our viewers to follow what we are discussing.
Yes.
So we've gone to your website.
Yes.
I want to use Papa Kowakwe.
Right.
All right. So we show us where to go. It's on the screen. Find a lawyer.
Yes, find a lawyer.
Okay. Can you please type in Papa Kowakwe? But why have you done this? Why is this necessary?
We felt that after we had reformed our internal processes using ICT, it was necessary also to reach out to the public, to help the public look for lawyers. Now, with the onset of the COVID-19, now it became an imperative because people don't interface a lot. So instead of going out to look for a lawyer in his chambers, you could reach him through the email on this portal. Tell him that, my name is so and so. I would like to engage your services. My matter is in the area of contract law. Once you send that information to the lawyer, it lies within the lawyer's discretion, either to get back to you or not to get back to you.
Okay. But doesn't this amount to advertisements because you're not supposed to be advertising as lawyers in Ghana?
Yes, that is the legal position. However, the International Bar Association has approved a certain level of advertisement which has been taken on by the General Legal Council and approved. Therefore, a lawyer is at liberty to put his name in any legal directory without more. So your name, area of practice, and that basic information is acceptable. It is unacceptable to say that, I'm the best lawyer in communications law or I'm the best lawyer in land law. No, that is totally unacceptable. But it is acceptable to put out your name. Mama V, I do land law and I'm situated at Kokomemle.
Okay.
That is acceptable.
Okay, so I changed my name. I'm going for Martin Pebo.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to put in Martin Pebo, and you can do this wherever, like you said, even if you're in Korea.
Anywhere.
Okay, but the issue has been finding lawyers in other places apart from the Greater Accra region in Ghana.
Yes.
You see?
So the lawyer locator also tells you the area of practice plus region of practice. So if you are looking for a lawyer in, say, Tamale, you put in Tamale. All the lawyers in Tamale will come up.
Okay. All right, so we've got Martin Pebo. I see two Pebos, but I know the person I'm looking for, so that's him.
Right.
So what do I do? So the 2007 represents what?
It shows the year of call.
Okay.
Yes.
And we know he's in the Greater Accra region.
That's correct.
All right.
So once you click on his name, you should get a contact lawyer.
Oh, okay. I think you should go to the name. Okay, the name of the firm. So let's click on this, and this is what will show.
Yes.
Oh, second floor, World Trade Center, and that's exactly where he is.
Contact lawyer.
Okay.
So his email address will come up, and you send him a message.
Oh.
So he will see this message in his office without you having to go to his office. So we've saved.
What's the response time?
That is dependent on the lawyer, because the email, once the email gets to him, he decides that I don't like Mama V, the name Mama V. I'm not going to respond. Well, too bad. But at least you've located Martin Pembo. You've given him a brief synopsis of your case.
Okay.
And he can also reach you. Once he reaches you, the confidentiality starts. Without even paying money, the confidentiality starts. And the contract will be formed at that point.
I guess this is one of the reforms.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This has never happened before. You know, we started with the online
renewal
of your solicitor's license. That was a major issue because the license is between 1st January and 31st December. So after 31st December, all licenses expire. So by 1st January, if you don't have a license, you cannot practice, which is a criminal offense if you should do. In fact, I benefited myself because I think last 2019, on the 7th of January, I hadn't renewed my license. And we had a major case. So sitting in my office, within 8 minutes, we renewed the license and were able to do the case. Otherwise, I would have had to shift it to a lawyer who has a license to start the process until I get a license. And before that, the licenses could take up to 2 months. So assuming a client walks up to you and maybe in your haste or desire to help, you issue the writ without the license, the whole case will be struck out.
We've seen it. There was a famous one that we saw it happening in the court.
Assuming the limitation period was closed, that client's matter is finished forever, unfortunately. So these reforms, which of course we've put the database of all lawyers since 1877 onto any lawyer, any person who has been a lawyer, yes, it's on the database.
Okay.
From 1877 till those who were just called to the bar in April. We've put all of them on the database. So everybody has a unique bar number.
Recently, you said something, and I remember asking my colleague, our court correspondent, to monitor and give me feedback, but I'm not sure I was successful with that. So I have something that I want to show you. My director is going to put it on the screen. And this was attributed to you, refrain from showing too much skin. Bare arms are generally frowned upon in the office and never appropriate in court. Skirts or blouses should always be buttoned so that cleavage is never revealed. There's another one, by the way. So bare legs are never acceptable in court, and neither are open-toe shoes. Anything flashy, such as large gaudy earrings or sandals, are also inappropriate. So I wanted to ask you, isn't this been complied? Is anybody flouting that for you to come out and say it again, re-emphasize?
You go to church, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What the pastor does is to tell you what is in the Bible, which has not been amended. Okay? So it was just a reminder. If you see the speech, it was a 13-page speech, and page 7 is dressing at the bar. That was the heading. So I went through how men should dress and how ladies should dress. And at the end, if you have the speech, you see that this admonition also goes for judges. So there was no complaint in the statement. It wasn't that I was picking on men or picking on women. I was just stating what the obvious, what a lawyer is supposed to do. That is it. Unfortunately, some of the reports were totally inaccurate.
Well, I thought that you had made some general observations in courts, and so you were reminding your colleagues of...
Of course, as bar president, you get judges calling you and complaining about A or B or C. So you don't pick on individuals, you don't pick on individuals and go in for them. What you do is to remind everybody. And that particular paragraph started with the law is a conservative profession. Then it goes on. This is the general standard from the bar, the Law Society of England, all the bars have it. So it was just stating what is, not my view. What is. Unless the General Legal Council decides to amend the code of dressing, I'm just stating what is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is that being breached?
Not to my eyes, but I can mention senior lawyers who have spoken to me and complained about this. Therefore, I felt that as at the end of the year when we are assessing ourselves, we need to remind ourselves of our basic ethics. Sometimes we speak about lawyer-client relationships. Sometimes we speak about discipline. So this year I said, okay, let me put in this so that we remind ourselves.
But so I'm just curious, if anybody goes against it, what happens?
if anybody goes against it, a judge can refuse to hear you if you are inappropriately dressed. So that will be a sanction. And I know for a fact that some of the senior lawyers, especially the female ones, sometimes caution the younger ones when they see things which are a bit untoward.
Okay.
But it's a process of we all helping ourselves. And with our profession, you always need a senior to mentor you. And invariably, you will see that people who were mentored by certain persons tend to follow even their style of dressing. Because I can tell you, you see the president puts his handkerchief over here. Several of the lawyers who trained at Akufo-Addo Prepare will put their handkerchiefs here. You see, it's something that you take after your senior.
Okay. My colleague Ben is just reminding me that the new Attorney General of Malawi wears dreadlocks, but you would say it's a jurisdiction issue, isn't it?
Well, I'm speaking to Ghanaian lawyers. But I don't think there should be anything wrong with dreadlocks per se. I don't think there should be anything wrong. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's one lawyer in Winneba who works dreadlocks.
Oh, okay.
He's practicing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you for your time. In the absence of anything that you want to share with us, we've gone through your lawyer locator. Yes. Maybe sometime we can get some feedback on that.
Yes.
Because now that we've shown it, I know that a lot of people will try it and then they'll give us feedback. So if we have anything, we will just bounce it off you.
Right. Thank you. Like you asked, I would pray that our political leaders, our traditional leaders, our spiritual leaders, all do their best to educate people on the fact that an election is just a matter of choosing. There's nothing like fighting over a disagreement. That's why we have the courts. That's why we have the ADL tribunals. If there is a disagreement about something, yes, you can speak to the top of your voice, but there's no reason why one person should raise his hand on another person. That is what I will say.
Well, it's a shame, right? Because I've been criticizing the Ghana Bar Association and I couldn't even raise the issue with you here. So thank you very much for your time.
Anytime. Feel free. If there's anything you don't understand, you can even send me a text.
Okay, let me say it. Because, you know, there are people who have said that.
Yes.
Today's Ghana Bar Association is not like what we used to have. You haven't been as active as even before the 90s. Throughout the 90s, we had a very vibrant Ghana Bar Association.
Yes.
What would be your reaction to that?
I've answered that question severally. The situations are different. Right now, Ghana has accepted democracy as a way of life. Back then, there was the fight for Ghana to return to democracy. So definitely, the eras are different.
Okay.
Right now, we have so many civil society organizations looking at human rights, so many things. Therefore, our concentration is one, giving our clients a good service, ensuring the nobility of the profession, making sure that justice is delivered on time. So the focus is a bit narrower than before. I don't have to go and fight the president over not being democratic. The people or the electorate will decide after 4 years. So the epochs are different.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Welcome.
And that's the Ghana Bar Association president. Coming up next, Advocates for Christ Ghana has put together the Alternative Manifesto Forum. Ben has that conversation up next.